3.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and if you've been looking for a golf show with a really good-looking host, well, you're half right. Welcome to Tea Time. My name is Ken Williams. We got Baxter who's playing producer for me. Say hi.
Hey, how we doing, Ken?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here on the Brew Sports Network. I'm certainly excited to start talking about golf today. Just to let you know, Brew Sports is broadcast live on Facebook, YouTube, and on Spreaker. So check us out on all those different formats. So today we're going to be talking a little bit of golf, a little bit about what happened last week, what's going to be happening this week, and what's coming up in a couple of weeks. I think that's the best place to start because we got somebody on the line, don't we?
You definitely do.
We got Mackenzie Laurent out there who's sitting at Erin Hills right now. She's going to give us a little update of what's going on at that golf course, how it's looking, if it's PGA ready, if pros are already coming out and scoping out their sand boxes and their tee boxes and all the other boxes they need. Mackenzie, are you there?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good. How are you? How are you doing today?
Good. I can't complain.
80 degrees out there. It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, with a beautiful warm wind. It's unbelievable.
Just wait till it snows on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not talk about it.
So how does the course look?
Unbelievable. I'll see if I can give you a little bit of a view here.
That's gorgeous. My goodness.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, obviously it's a little bit blocked right now with the bleachers and everything that are set up for the U.S. Open, but yeah, definitely a phenomenal view.
And I bet all the employees are running around like chickens with their heads cut off, getting things ready and ready to go.
Oh yeah, but their hospitality is always up to par. They're always holding the doors for you, getting you whatever you need.
Were you able to sneak into the VIP tent because nobody's in there yet, or?
I was not. I've just been hanging out at the clubhouse all day. Went down to the media tent shortly, or briefly, but just at the clubhouse.
And that clubhouse is gorgeous, isn't it? Isn't that a beautiful clubhouse?
It is. I'm out on the patio right now. It's amazing.
A nice place to watch a U.S. Open.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, all of the media is currently out on the course, playing the course right now. And it'll take them probably at least 4 to 5 hours to complete it. And they went out around 2, so wrapping up shortly, but still got a little bit to go. And
how come you're not out there on the course, Mackenzie?
Because I am working right now, a remote broadcast for ESPN Milwaukee.
Okay. So they couldn't let you sneak out on the course and hit a couple of holes, or what?
I probably would have been pretty embarrassed doing it anyways.
With the way the course is now, with the rough about 2 inches higher than it usually is, I bet they're all looking a little silly out there right now. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, golf is not my strong suit.
No.
It'll probably take me a couple strokes to get it down to the hole.
Okay, well, if you had to, I like predictions on this show. So if you had to predict a winner for the U.S. Open, who do you think? Who are you pulling for?
Oh my gosh, I have no idea. I don't think I would know well enough to give an educated guess.
Just don't say Tiger Woods and you'll be fine.
Phil Mickelson?
There
you know what? That's not a bad choice. I
can get on board with Phil.
Yeah, he's not exactly a young pup anymore, but he's not a bad choice. He's always a potential.
Yeah, that would be my choice. Or the young guy. Why can I not think of his name right now?
Jordan
Spieth.
Jordan Spieth. Also a good choice. He'd be a good choice in there. I'm still pulling for Steve Stricker to do something in Wisconsin.
Hopefully I'm hanging out here.
Yeah? All right, well.
Mind, if Jordan Spieth was around here and won while I was around, he's about my age.
Yeah,
there you go. There you go. Should give you some golf lessons, I'm sure.
Well, Mackenzie, we thank you for...
Yeah, maybe that would improve the game.
We thank you for your update out there in Erin Hills. We hope to hear from you again in the next couple of weeks before we hit the U.S. Open.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks, you too.
So Erin Hills, Baxter is on its way. It's
super jealous.
I am super jealous. I wish I was
gorgeous out there.
I want to know. I mean, I know we just started Tea Time today, but how come Brew Sports doesn't have a media presence out at Erin Hills?
Listen, I mean, if we had a media presence at every single event that we were supposed to have it at, I mean, we'd be paying you a lot more than we're already paying you. So, there's baby steps, Ken. Baby steps.
So the journal, the media credentials are coming in the mail. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, they said that they're on their way.
They're
The
on their
Pony
way?
Express. They said that they should be here, within the week. Hopefully.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely. If not by June 20th.
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
Well, that's awesome. I remind people you can comment, you can voice your opinion. Go to the website, go to Facebook, check out brewsports.com, check out Tea Time. We want to hear what you want to talk, which we want to hear from you, what you want to hear us talk about. And we also want your questions, so feel free to leave your questions there. Brewsports.net, brewsportsnet.com. Sorry. If you have Twitter, tell them you can follow us on Twitter. What is the Twitter, Baxter? Do we have a Twitter for
At BrewSportsNet is what we're looking at right there on Twitter, and the great Instagram as well for those that are awesome at taking those little golf selfies with their cute shorts.
Please do. Send those selfies. We want to see those pictures of those different golf courses and see what's going on out there. And you know what? I think in a couple of weeks, we're also going to start asking for your scores. We want to hear how people are doing. I'd love to know if you get to golf Erin Hills in the next couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Send us your round. Let us know what you're shooting out there. If it's a little harder because they're making those roughs a little longer for the pros that are going to be heading there in the middle of June.
I was going to say, it's been about 2 years since I've played golf, Ken, so I don't know if you'd want to know my score at this point. Or maybe you would. That might make you feel better about
yourself. It would probably
yourself.
make me feel better. What was your last score? Do you remember?
I do not, unfortunately. I think that it was lost in the sands of time, unfortunately.
Well, speaking of scores, one thing I wanted to talk about today was, so we had a great loss to the sporting community in this last year. Tony Romo decided to retire from football. And he decided to hang up the cleats, and he was going to join the CBS team and become a broadcaster. But at the same time, he thought, you know what? I'm a pretty good golfer. I think I want to go back to Wisconsin, a hero, and I'm going to go to Erin Hills and play in the U.S. Open.
I mean, in theory, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, it definitely got a lot of coverage here on the network. I know that from a fact, but didn't exactly. It had about the same pomp and circumstance as his fumbled ball in the playoffs on an easy field goal to win the game. I feel like.
Yeah, he had a pretty decent comeback, but he fell short, and he shot 3 over par for the whole tournament. Shot it last Monday. It was a couple Mondays ago. 3 over par. He was 40th place, so he's probably. Unless a lot of people come down with an illness,
it'd be ironic, wouldn't it?
He's probably not going to be in this.
Does Jerry Jones have pull in the
Open.
golf world? Could he make that happen?
I don't think. I think if anything, the fact that he stepped aside for Dak Prescott would be precedent for him to say, you know what, Tony, we're going to get you in that golf tournament. Don't you worry, buddy.
I feel like that would be a nice little thing for them to do. Nice little thank you for everything that Tony did for them.
Okay, yeah. I mean, what would he do for him?
Yes.
That's the
He put them on the map in the sense of I don't know what he did for them.
Right.
I don't know.
mean, you're right. The Cowboys were a lacking franchise. They weren't making a whole lot of money or selling a whole lot of jerseys before Tony Romo came along.
It's true.
I mean, did they even win a championship before Tony got there?
I mean, I think Troy Aikman did something for that team at some point, but I don't know. Cowboys in the 90s, I think, were a thing, but
like 40 years ago.
Right? Does anybody remember that kind of stuff? You're like, what, 25, 26, Ken?
Aww, you're sweet.
Do what I
You're
can.
so sweet. All right, so Tony Romo not going to be going on. In fact, he didn't make it to the second tournament. He's out. So it's a pretty sad day. Yeah, poor guy. I think with the severance package he got from the Cowboys, he'll be all right.
I think so. I'd like to. I'm not a betting man, Ken, but if I was, I'd like to bet that he's okay on this one.
Yeah, I think he's going to be just fine. Also this week, we had the Players' Championship. It happened over at TPC Sawgrass. And, man, I don't suppose you... This is where a co-host that actually watch golf.
I mean, you have two really great co-hosts when they actually are here.
And I bet they watch golf and they would be able to banter back and forth.
They
with me
probably
about this.
would. I mean, it's nothing against that I don't care about golf. I do know that there was an Asian that won. That's all I know. Sing Ming Wang or something like that.
Si Woo Kim.
Okay, I figured if I would throw a little C and a King and a Wang in there somewhere, I'd probably be pretty close.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to talk about your Wangs. I am going to say that Si Woo Kim won. Which I mean, the Players' Championship is a big tournament.
It is.
They start to die down a little bit. You got the Byron Nelson coming up this weekend, and the things start to slow down a little bit before you hit the U.S. Open. Everybody wants to take a little bit of a break. You're not hitting the Dean DeLuca or the Memorial Tournament. So, but the Players' Champion is a pretty big deal. And Si Woo Kim, I mean, a solid outing. He was 10 under for the tournament. He shot a 68 on Saturday, which is a difficult thing enough to do on moving day as it is. But it was a really solid performance, and one of the only guys in the top 10 who shot 60s consistently. Everybody else is up closer around par. So a 10 under for Sawgrass is pretty amazing.
It's very impressive from what I've heard.
While Sawgrass is one of the it's an older course, but it's still one of the more difficult courses on the tour. So it's pretty impressive.
The more you know, I guess.
The more you know.
Good for him, though. I bet he worked hard, and he was 21. Is that what you said? Young buck.
He is young. I can't remember exactly how old he is.
I feel like he was kind of like that dark horse, though, coming in. Like, you didn't really know what you were going to get from a guy like him, and
no,
kind of surprised the whole field, I feel like.
He definitely just had one of those unbelievable 4 rounds that just came out of nowhere and blew everybody away.
Meanwhile, Jordan Spieth is sitting somewhere going like, why can't I do that?
Well, and Jordan Spieth, he needs to step up if he wants to start making some points in that FedEx Cup race.
That's exactly true.
I know he's young and he's got some time, but he needs to get on his horse a little bit there.
You think Jordan Spieth's overrated?
I get into that conversation with other friends of mine who watch golf a lot. I think overrated is a difficult calculation, especially in golf.
Right.
You talk about guys who consistently make the cut to the weekend. These are the best of the best, right? These guys are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't win a tournament, you're still, top 200 player in the world if you're consistently making the cut in the weekend. So it's hard to say he's overrated. Sergio Garcia was overrated for a long time, right? Until he finally this year won a green jacket at the Masters. And he never fully lived up to his potential. I mean, he had some really nice tournaments and he had some really nice comebacks, a lot of seconds, but until he won that tournament, he was still overrated. So Jordan Spieth is far too young for me to pull out the overrated just yet.
I can get on board with that. I mean, he still is a young, talented golfer that I know people are always looking for the second comings of all the greats. Who's the next Jordan? Who's the next Tiger Woods? Who's the next, Barry Bonds or any of those guys too? So, I mean, even the next Tom Brady as well too. People are always looking for those next ones. So if you're Jordan Spieth get compared to some of the all-time greats early on just because he hits the ball well and had fairly decent success early on.
Yeah, it's the biggest. Well, it's not so much anymore, but especially in years past, if you can hit a long ball, you're automatically the second coming of Tiger Woods, and everybody's looking out for you. But they don't realize that, these guys got to work on their putting game because putting shifts. It's the one thing if you don't keep up on, you can lose it pretty quick, and then the next thing you know, you're above par and you're not making the cut.
Yeah, that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. I mean, but golf is a funny, fickle sport. I feel like, and it's just how as they say, the cookie crumbles at times.
So the FedEx Cup standings through the this last tournament this last week. I mean, Dustin Johnson is still firmly in the lead by more than 1,000 points. He's got 3 wins on the year. He's doing pretty good. He's not over. That back doesn't seem to be bothering him at all.
I know. And do you think? I don't want to play the conspiracy here. Do you think he purposely sat out the Masters so he could run the table with everything else? But I mean, the Masters is so great that why would you purposely want to sit out from something like that? I mean, how do you fall down 2 stairs, and not still be able to swing a golf club?
Well, I mean, you got to remember these athletes are walking a course, right? And there's no steps on the golf course, so
right.
Maybe it was just confusion.
Snuck up on him,
right? He's like, oh, steps. I'm confused.
Do you think he was pushed? Who shot? Did Sergio push him?
Sergio was like, "I'm not dealing with you."
Right, go away.
I don't know. I think there is something to. I think he definitely could have pushed himself and been in the Masters if he wanted to. Not pushed himself down the stairs.
Oh, I was about to say. It's like, wait a minute.
I think he could have pushed himself and played and probably had a decent showing and got some more points. Not that he needs them right now, but I think. I think it's difficult to put yourself in that position, especially when you're a golfer and that back is so important when you're pulling around in that swing.
It's true. I mean, I can speak from experience. I have size 13 feet, so I mean, I have a hard time, let alone walking up or down stairs, let alone walking in a straight line. So I don't know what size shoe Dustin has. I mean, maybe he's a bigger foot. I don't know.
Especially when you're talking about these stairs that are only like 10 inches wide.
Right. It's a lot of foot to try to fit into a small space. It just doesn't work out well for anybody involved.
Not good. But Dustin Johnson seems to be doing just fine, especially in the FedEx race. He seems to be doing it. Hideki Matsuyama is also doing really well. He's up there with a win doing his. Yeah, he's another one of those guys with the Wang names.
They do. I feel like they just they're so stereotypical with the Asian golfers nowadays. Can't they get a little bit more creativity?
We'll see. We'll see.
Come
Who
on, somebody
knows?
get out there and change the landscape of Asian golfers.
Well, and Ricky Fowler is still sticking around. He's a guy that, overrated, gets put on him quite a bit
Yes.
about his abilities and what he's done, and he seems to have a little bit of a, I don't want to say an attitude. I don't want to say he's.
He looked really honestly just pissed off during the Masters.
Yeah.
Like just watching him walk around watching him around the course. I'm just like, do you even want to be here?
It's as though he thinks he should be winning every tournament,
Right.
but his game just isn't sticking with it.
Right. He's hitting more foul than he is fair, I feel
That's
like.
right. That's right. Absolutely. So FedEx Cup is we're dead heat in the middle of there. We're right in the middle of the season right now, and Dustin Johnson looks to be looking good. And I know we're going to talk about the U.S. Open more and more in the next couple of weeks, but Dustin Johnson is definitely in my top 5 for hitting 1 or 2 of the majors this year.
I mean, rightfully so. Why wouldn't you? I mean, you're not rated the number 1 golfer in the world if you're not going to try to get a little bit of success this year. I mean, do you think Sergio's going to do anything else the rest of the year, or can you just basically bank on Dustin Johnson and some of the other big boys running the table?
I think we're going to find out the next time we see Sergio in a tournament, because I don't think he's been in one since.
I don't think so, not from what I've heard.
But I think that's going to be the telltale sign, because he seems like the type of guy who will either – oh, nope, I take it back. He did play in the Players' Championship. Yep, he tied for 30th. So
Flash in the pan.
Yeah, and that's what I'm afraid of. I mean, he seems like the type of guy who will either he got over this hump, now he'll just start killing it, or he won the one and he's going to be Mr. 3000 and just
Might as well
ride that green jacket for the rest of his life.
Right, he's going to get to throw a nice dinner next year. I mean, a very Spanish-themed dinner. I mean, he'll probably have tortilla español and tapas and
Who
whatever
knows?
else the Spanish have. So, I mean, I'd go to that dinner.
I would love to be at that dinner.
Mm.
Are you kidding me? That'd be fantastic. But yeah, he did not do well in the Players' Championship.
Poor guy.
Not at all. In fact, I mean, overall, if you look at his last several tournaments, the Masters is really the only one. I mean, at the WGC match play, he didn't even finish the tournament. So we'll see. Who knows? He could have a good rest of the year, but I'm not going to bank on it.
And golf is such a weird sport, isn't it? Where you can, not hit a ball for years, walk out on the course, and somehow hit a hole in one, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, you're the greatest golfer ever." I mean, Sergio has been back and forth his entire career, and then he finally does really well. I mean, anybody can have a good weekend, I feel like, when it comes to golf. I mean, you can just hit the ball really well for a couple of days, and then you try to go back out the next weekend and be like, "Oh, I had a good weekend." Go back out, and you can't keep it between the pipes for the life of you.
It's the beauty of the sport is that, you look for 1 or 2 good shots. That's all you do.
Yeah.
You look for 1 or 2 good shots, and you hope you're able to do something with them. And the pros will tell you the same thing. If you try to put together a full round, you're messing with forces you don't want to be messing with. That course is going to get you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, golf is a strange and fickle sport, and that's just kind of how it goes, unfortunately. I mean, playing other sports as well, too. I've certainly seen that come through a couple of different times.
So let me remind you, ladies and gentlemen, we got Baxter, who admittedly says he doesn't golf very much, but he's more than willing to help me out today. My co-hosts, Nick and Connor, will be here most of the time. We'll have Nick here with us next week, correct?
That's true. I mean, we're showing the set right now. There's no one there.
Look at it.
No one there.
All by myself. But
Hanging out.
Tea time going on back here. We got.
It's a sweet logo. I like it.
That's a great logo. Who put that together, Baxter?
Somebody in graphics.
That looks fantastic.
We
It's
had
a
an
really
intern
good
on
one.
it.
It's fantastic. It looks good. The set is lovely.
Yeah.
If you've never seen the inside of the Brew Sports studio, you're missing out, because it is a lovely place. You can see nice white walls behind Baxter there.
It's gorgeous.
And this week we got a pretty big tournament, the Byron Nelson Championship, coming up, which is pretty important and a pretty good precursor to the U.S. Open.
How do they go about naming the tournaments? Is it all just about someone that wants to give you lots of money?
It can be. Byron Nelson was a golfer, so this is technically the AT&T Byron Nelson
Of
Championship.
course. Oh, there we go.
But that's all about money. I mean, pretty soon it'll be, the Jiffy Lube Quick Mart Masters tournament at Augusta, Georgia. Who knows? I mean, golf is one of those sports where money is not lacking at this point. Right? I mean, it's so. Just to give you an idea, Sergio Garcia, I told you, he came in 30th this last weekend at Players Champion. He still pulled in $65,000.
I mean, if I had to finish 30th and get 65 grand, I feel like, I could settle for 30th.
Right?
I would settle.
All
I would
you
be
gotta do-
okay with that.
I mean, he didn't even finish under par. He finished a shot over par, and he still pulled in 65 grand.
Fun fact about Mr. Byron Nelson: his cause of death is unknown, according to Wikipedia, and his full name is John Byron Nelson Jr. It's not even Byron. Byron was his middle name.
See?
It's all a hoax.
And
Born
here-
back in 1912, Texas. Fun fact.
Fun facts.
They had
from
golf
Bax.
back then.
Facts from Bax.
I like it. Should be a segment.
It should be a segment. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Spreaker. Don't forget to check us out. And, on Facebook, give us a little a mention, comment. You want to hear something we want to talk about? You want us to talk about something you want to hear? Let us know. BrewSportsNet.com. Check out the Twitter at BrewSportsNet. At BrewSportsNet, that is. Let's see. What else we got going on?
I think we got a game to play, don't we? Before we gotta get out of here.
We do.
I
I'm
know
just
you're all
looking at
about
the time.
you're all about your games.
I'm just looking at the time, and we're just about there. So let's do this. We're going to play a game today. It's called Course, Clubhouse, or Caddy.
Ooh.
And this would work, and we'll do this, every couple of weeks or so. It's a pretty fun game where we'll talk to somebody who really likes their golfers, and we'll ask them. We'll say, we'll give them a golfer name or a celebrity name and say, would you rather work the course with them, play with them? Would you rather sit in the clubhouse and have a beer with them? Or would you rather be their caddy and watch them play?
I mean, there's a lot of different people out there. So did you say there's specific golfers that we have to choose from, or do we get to pick our three?
No, I think that doesn't even have to be golfers. We can be asking, like if I said, hey, Baxter, what about Brad Pitt?
Brad Pitt, I would probably clubhouse with him because I feel like he'd be a lot of fun to drink with.
I think he'd have some stories.
Yeah, you get Brad drinking. I'm sure you're going to hear all about. You're probably going to get, if you drink too long, you're going to get the Angelina drama. And you don't want to deal with that.
No, I'd rather hear the
You want to hear
Jennifer
about their
Aniston.
85 kids that they have.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, everybody wants to know about Brad and Jennifer, though.
That's
it's
what I
like,
want to hear about.
It's like a national treasure that is yet to be unearthed. Just
That's
give
what I
us the
think.
details.
I want to know what happened there.
They were great together.
I want to know what happened there.
All right, I got one for you then. What about Johnny Depp?
Johnny Depp. Man, I'd love to play the course with that guy.
You think you'd finish the course though?
I think we would go off in directions. I think it would be like Caddyshack 2, right? We'd just be following Chevy Chase around through like buildings and stuff. He wouldn't even care. He'd choose holes and just throw the balls right wherever he wants to throw them.
Yeah, I like that Caddyshack too with Kenny and the big man there. Kenny and Johnny. I like it. I think that's a franchise that we're really missing out on. It's a golden opportunity.
I think that'd be a great idea. What about Chevy Chase?
Chevy Chase, I think this is such the stereotype about what he did in Caddyshack that obviously I think people want to see him play golf, but if you're going just with the actor as a whole, what was the third option? Clubhouse, course, and what's the third one?
Caddy.
Caddy for him? I think you caddy for him. I think you wouldn't stop laughing the entire time.
Oh, I think that'd be fun to watch.
Yeah. I think it reminds me of like how my uncle golfs, just swears every other stroke, basically breaks clubs against trees, all kinds of fun stuff. It's a good family show.
It is a good family show. It is a good family show. Well, that is, I think, about all the time we have for today.
We do.
I'll tell you, if you enjoyed this show, thank you. It's not the best ideal to be hosting the first time by yourself.
There's only so much you can do, Ken.
There's only so much you can talk about with yourself and somebody who doesn't know golf. But
Also
Baxter,
true.
thank you so much for joining me on this journey today.
It was an honor and a privilege, Ken, to be a part of the first tee time here on Brew Sports. There's obviously so much that is coming up with it, and I'm excited to see what you and Connor and Nick can all pull out. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And we're going to start to pull stuff together next week. So next week, Wednesday at 5:30, we'll talk about what happens this week with the Byron Nelson, and we'll see what's coming up after that. We got exciting tournaments coming up with the U.S. Open, the Open Championship, and the British Open, and in the PGA Championship. So we're extremely excited to see what happens the rest of the season with Tee Time and the golf that's coming up for you guys.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
One last reminder, Brew Sports is broadcast live on Facebook, YouTube, and Spreaker. Check us out. Let us know, and we'll see you next week.
3, 2, 1.